When an LA football team is last in their league,
It's the Cleveland Browns 27, the California Adams nothing.
there's only one guy who can save the team.
And weighing in at 1,374 pounds,
He's just your average sports hero. And the game of football will never be the same. Tonight, it's Walt Disney's Gus.
Welcome, one and all, to What Would Walt Have Done month on Escape from Walt Disney! The podcast where we review movies, TV shows, and short films available on Disney Plus, chosen mostly completely at random. I am your host, Tony Goldmark. Joining us today in person is Zach Hurst.
Well, howdy.
Cassie Shima.
Well, howdy again.
And Charlie Callahan.
Well, howdy again.
Like I said, this is our fifth and final week of What Would Walt Have Done, quote-unquote, month, because you listeners demanded it, where we devote all of March and April and May and the first half of June 2024 to stuff Disney released between 1968 and 1984, that wacky post-Walt, pre-Asner era, when the Disney executives just couldn't stop asking, what would Walt have done? And this week, the randomizer, in its infinite wisdom, has perused our What Would Walt Have Done month shortlist and truly blessed us with Gus, the 1976 comedy. Who here in this room has seen or heard of Gus?
Nope.
Absolutely not. I've seen Racing Stripes. That's kind of the same.
It's similar, I suppose.
I've heard about the dramatic retelling they have on NBC. This is Gus. That's as close as I've come. I don't think I've even heard of this before.
I am so fucking happy that the randomizer chose Gus, because here's the thing. I've been a little disappointed with the randomizer this theme month. I gotta be honest, because people have been wanting me to do What Would Walt Have Done month ever since I started introducing theme months. It always came in second place 3 years in a row. This year was finally its year, but I feel like the randomizer hasn't been giving us the stuff that people have come to expect from a What Would Walt Have Done month, namely the comedies of this era, the dumb slapstick comedies, because so far we've gotten an animated film about animals just kind of wandering around, The Fox and the Hound. We got a live-action featurette of animals just kind of wandering around, Tale of Two Critters. We got a live-action adventure movie of people just kind of wandering around, Treasure of Matacumbe. And we got a horse movie of just a horse wandering around, Hacksaw. So finally, we get characters wandering around and stumbling over things with Gus.
And apparently a mule walking around. We downgraded from horse to mule.
I'm not sure I'd call that a downgrade in this case. You didn't see Hacksaw.
We bred Hacksaw with the rest of the jackasses from the other movies.
See, now he's not wandering around. This is a mule with motivation.
Now, Gus was released to theaters just with the name Gus, but the unofficial subtitle that it's gotten over the years is Gus the Field Goal Kicking Mule.
You might remember me from such films as Today We Kill, Tomorrow We Die, and Gladys the Groovy Mule.
This is a movie about a football team that recruits a mule as its place kicker.
Ain't no rule says a mule can't play football.
Ain't no mule says a rule can't play football.
Wait, so Mike O'Malley isn't going to award a child a piece of the aggro crag at the end of this?
He might. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
He'll award a mule a piece of the aggro crag at the end of this.
Is Don Knotts going to award a mule a piece of the aggro crag?
I'm glad you brought that up because, yes, Mr. Don Knotts himself is in this movie. I'm so glad we got at least one Don Knotts movie on What Would Walt Have Done. It would have been a fucking crime if we hadn't. Holy shit.
For me and the others in the audience who might not know Don Knotts off the top of their noggin,
Oh, you
can somebody
poor,
please?
deprived child.
I'm sure I've
You almost
seen.
certainly do.
I'm sure
Don
I've
Knotts
seen.
was a fucking god among men.
Yeah.
Let me tell
the
you.
name isn't bringing up a face.
Have you
for it.
seen Pleasantville?
No.
Have you seen the Andy Griffith Show?
No.
Have you seen Three's Company?
No.
Have you seen
dear.
Scooby-Doo movies?
The new ones.
Oh, no.
So
How do we describe Don Knotts to her?
Okay.
Imagine if Jimmy Stewart had everything go wrong in his life.
Oh.
Imagine kind of a cross between that and Tim Blake Nelson and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, but more. Have you seen the Disney CG animated Chicken Little?
Yes.
He was the voice of the mayor, the turkey mayor. So that's what you've seen Don Knotts in, is one of his very last performances.
Because somebody types in Don Knotts fish movie. Is he?
He's the Incredible Mr. Limpet, yes.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
You have seen that?
I have seen that.
Awesome. That's Don Knotts.
I knew you'd know him as soon as you saw him.
Oh, I have seen Pleasantville.
The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
The face kind of rings a bell, but I didn't have the context until I saw a picture of the animated fish version of Don Knotts.
Of course.
And now I know.
Hey, that's Don Knotts, the funny man from TV. You know, Don Knotts. Sure. And now Don Knotts stars in a big new color movie as the Incredible Mr. Limpet.
And not just Don Knotts, but also Ed Asner is in this movie.
Oh, bitchin'.
Dick Van Patten is in this movie. We previously saw him in a cameo in Treasure of Matacumbe earlier this month.
Tim Conway.
Yeah, Don Knotts and Tim Conway are both in this movie.
Yeah.
Although, according to Wikipedia, this is the only one of their 6 films together where Don Knotts and Tim Conway do not share any scenes. That almost feels like a waste of Don Knotts and Tim
you,
Conway.
randomizer.
Although, to be fair, a couple years ago, I covered the Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again on this podcast, and I'm not sure we're missing much. Oh, Ronnie Shell is in this, a.k.a. the voice of the cat from outer space.
Okay.
I shit you not.
I know that one.
Oh, Bob Crane is in this. Johnny Unitas plays himself. I mainly know him from a cameo on The Simpsons where he also played himself, but I guess he was a real football player.
So, what do you think of the Lady Krusty mustache removal system now, Angelique?
It's crusterific, Johnny Unitas. But is my upper lip supposed to bleed like this?
Probably.
And I notice also the story of this, not the screenplay, sadly, but the story is written by Ted Key, who also wrote The Cat from Outer Space. And his biggest claim to fame was that he worked for Jay Ward in the 60s and created Peabody and Sherman.
Oh, snap.
The director was Vincent McAveety, who directed a bunch of Disney movies during the What Would Walt Have Done era, especially. He was one of their hired hands who was just in a pen somewhere. They grabbed him whenever they needed something.
The mule pen.
Exactly. But this was released to theaters, I shit you not, a week after another film he directed, Treasure of Matacumbe, that we covered earlier in the podcast. So this wasn't even a Jurassic Park Schindler's List situation. This was a Tintin Warhorse situation.
Oh my God.
I don't know how the fuck they pulled that off. I'm guessing they just had Treasure of Matacumbe on the shelf for a while he directed this. Or maybe they had this on the shelf for a while. This was released in July 76, so it was the bicentennial. So I guess Disney really wanted to release 2 Vincent McAveety movies that month for some reason.
The famous Vincent McAveety.
This is a movie about a football playing mule. What else could you want from the What Would Walt Have Done era?
But it contains tobacco depictions.
Oh, man. It's ruined for us.
Yeah.
So the description here just says, a football team welcomes their newest member, a place-kicking mule. That's all you need to know.
I can kick some places. McDonald's, the library.
I've placed
your
some
house
mules, too.
Your mom's house. I'll kick them all. I'll kick any place you want me to. I'll do that shit for free.
Yeah, but are you a mule?
No.
Then sorry, bud.
You can't play football.
Don't get the part.
Well, how many drugs have you smuggled across the border?
Are you a cop?
Are you Clint Eastwood?
You have to tell me if you're a cop.
Actually, I don't. So how
Fuck,
many
you got me
drugs
there.
have you? No, that's a myth. Cops don't have to fucking tell you that. Are you kidding?
If they don't, that would make them bad people. Are you saying cops are bad people, Tony?
I didn't want this to be how you found out.
Oh my God.
Please enjoy this beautiful music, folks, and we will be right back with our thoughts on the even more beautiful, I'm quite sure, 1976 Mule Learns How to Kick Field Goals comedy, Gus. Right here on the final episode of What Would Walt Have Done month on Escape from Vault Disney.
Are we sure Mule isn't Ron Miller?
Okay, we just watched the 1976 all-time Disney classic, Gus.
All-time?
That was an experience, man.
Opening
That
credits.
was a hell of a thing. So for the first half of this, you're just thinking, this is the dumbest fucking movie I've ever seen. This is horrendous. This is dog shit. This is mule shit, if you will. But then, at some point in the second half, it gets so fucking dumb, it achieves a sort of nirvana. It achieves levels of dumbness previously considered unfathomable by humankind, and it plunges you into that stupidity and forces you against your will to groove on its wavelengths until you finally give up and give yourself over to it. I mean, I'm not saying I like it. I'm just saying it's an experience, man.
You didn't not like it.
I have never in my life seen a movie that set its tone so perfectly as the opening credits of this movie does.
The first
Oh my God.
8 minutes.
Because much like the movie itself, those opening credits were stupid and then dumber, and then it somehow worked its way back around to being one of the funniest things I had ever seen.
Oh,
Here's
absolutely.
the thing. Comedy comes in threes. They cut for opening credits 6 times.
Yep.
So by the 4th time, you're going, this is stupid.
But it works as rule of threes twice.
Yes.
It's the same with a lot of the scenes in this where it just goes on and on and on. It's like the Sideshow Bob rake gag where it repeats itself so many times that it goes from being not all that funny to excruciating to back around to being the funniest thing ever, just by virtue of how much you're laughing at yourself for actually laughing at this blithering idiocy.
There's a lot of comedy in repetition.
Let's start with those opening credits. We gotta dissect this shit.
Even before that, there's a cold open where they're
Right.
watching Andy's older brother play soccer.
Yes.
With his Yugoslavian parents.
Which, by the way, sometimes they call it football, sometimes they call it soccer. They should just be calling it football because it's not America. America's the only fucking country that calls a whole different sport football. But then when they're talking to American TV, they call it soccer, I guess not to confuse Americans?
They're being considerate.
They keep saying they're Yugoslavian, but that father has the most Brooklyn Yugoslavian accent I've ever heard in my life. You see my son over here, this authentic Yugoslavian son. He's over here and he's playing soccer like a good Yugoslavian boy, like I raised him here on Fifth Avenue.
His boy that looks like Zac Efron.
Yeah, the opening scene is this, I'll just say soccer game to keep it simple. This soccer game where they're watching the brother who's an amazing soccer player play, and then they fucking Maud Flanders the other kid. They knock him off the stadium, and he doesn't die. He's fine.
They're at the top of the bleachers, and somehow this kid's made of steel.
Yeah. The main character in this, named Andy, which I'm going to assume is short for Andronovich or something. Then in the next scene, it smash cuts to Anna Tevka, basically, where the mule starts kicking soccer balls out of the way.
This happens, though, after Andy falls down a well.
That's
and
right.
doesn't
right.
die.
Again, made of steel, this boy.
This is my headcanon. The entire rest of the movie from that point on is just his delusional hallucination while he's dying in that well.
Like Jacob's
That's
ladder.
the rest of the movie.
He's
Yes.
upside down in the well. And fun fact.
That's why he later dreams of somebody getting their head stuck in buckets.
Yes.
Because his head is
Yeah,
stuck in a
no,
well
fun
bucket.
fact though, if you're upside down like that for long enough, you can start hallucinating. So this is all very possible.
It's the only way to explain what happens for the rest of the movie. So the mule starts kicking balls, and anytime the mule kicks a ball of any kind, they give it the most amazing sound effect. This synthesized slide whistle type of sound effect. It's great. That sound effect alone deserved an Oscar. Fuck you, Ben Burt.
Zone of interest, you didn't deserve that Oscar. Gus did.
A slide whistle did, you dork.
Well, Gus's speech would have been even more political.
Oh, absolutely.
And even more pro-Palestine. But anyway, then we
the
get
fucking title sequence.
the title sequence that can't fucking decide if it wants to be a title sequence or an actual scene. Because it's a scene of Don Knotts as the coach of the Adams, the worst football team in existence, showing the owner of the team, Ed Asner, a series of football bloopers of the team just fumbling with the ball and fucking shit up. And every so often, it freeze frames and there's more credits over the screen.
And the song
And
continues.
the fucking march anthem, like ba ba ba
Yeah,
ba 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 da.
The music by John Philip Luza.
Exactly.
jeez.
Every time the football team is fucking up, it freezes mid fuck up to run a few credits by
Yep.
you.
Well, no, the
You know,
football team is so bad that it doesn't know if it wants to be a football reel or a movie.
Eat your fucking heart out, Skyfall. This is what opening credits looks like.
It's the most erratic goddamn sequence.
These motherfuckers are responsible for why the football team is so bad.
It gives you whiplash.
The rest of the movie, though, I thought they're going to roll more credits any second now.
We kept waiting for it because they kept careening awkwardly back and forth between credits and scene.
It's a real missed opportunity that we didn't get one slide halfway through the movie.
Yeah. One of them being Ron Miller, who was a football player.
Yeah, that's why this movie's so accurate to how football works.
That's how they got the NFL contracts.
Obviously. I don't know how they got Ed Asner to be in this movie, though. He was still on the Mary Tyler Moore Show at the time. He was just a year away from getting his own spin-off, Lou Grant, and the character he's playing in this movie basically just is Lou Grant all over again. I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to be in a movie he could take his kids to or something.
Maybe it was just money. They offered him enough money.
I'm in a
He
Disney
didn't have
movie.
to do it.
Here's how bad the team is. Here's the absolute marker of a bad football team. The cheerleaders are all old and or fat. It's wacky.
They're old, very
And or
young,
ugly.
or kind of fat.
Because as we all know, there are absolutely no beautiful women desperate for work in Southern California.
No.
There's not a single one.
Doesn't exist here.
Zero.
Nope.
The thing, though, that got me is the one cheerleader that is dubbed the, clumsy fat girl manages to do all of her flip-flops with her glasses still intact and on her face.
That would have been, not a good joke, but if her glasses had gotten progressively more broken as the movie went on, that would have been at least something instead of nothing.
Tony,
It
you're
would have
putting
been
too much thought
accurate.
into this gag.
I know. I always do.
Now, here's something, though, that I did notice, and it happens throughout the movie. How does time work? How long is this? If it's at the beginning of the football season and then ends with the Super Bowl, that's at least 4 months of time. How much time goes on before that, though? Because in one moment, Mr. Cooper says,
If I wanted an animal act, I'd get that Yugoslavian mule that kicks 100-yard soccer goals.
Oh, yeah, Debbie showed me that story. Even I'd pay to see that, I think.
Might be worth a look if it's for real.
Well, all it takes is a round-trip ticket to Yugoslavia for me to find out.
No. It takes more than that. It takes somebody to loan me the money to buy you the ticket.
not one scene later, he's in Yugoslavia.
Yeah, they don't explain it.
Sending a telegram back to America. And then the scene after, he's back in America talking about how he signed up the mule.
Yeah, the mule put his hoof print to a contract, I guess.
How long did that
They
happen?
make that joke twice throughout the movie.
Yup.
He's at the farm in Yugoslavia, which looks absolutely nothing like Southern California,
No.
of course. And he's on the phone saying the mule never misses at 100 yards. And then at that moment, a soccer ball hits him in the head. And he says, sometimes misses at 110.
Foreshadowing.
Buddy, that wasn't a miss.
We don't talk about how smart this mule is. So cunning.
Yeah, the mule is smarter than any of the people in the movie.
Including the
easily.
writers.
Then we have the mule on the plane gag.
I ate that shit up. That was so good.
No dialogue. It's just an exterior shot of a plane taxiing. The camera pans from window to window until finally it reaches the fucking mule on the plane, apparently sitting in a chair.
Sitting in his own seat. He gets a whole row.
All of the Disney comedies of this era have stupid shit like that in it.
Of course.
So that was just indicative of the era, and I fucking loved that.
Please enlighten me. What other animal movies came out at this time, too?
The Shaggy DA.
The Shaggy DA came out the same year as this. That one had the famous shot that's become a meme.
Yeah.
Where the dog fucking cold cocks Dick Van Patten. And $1 Million Duck and The Cat from Outer Space, of course. And Herbie's arguably just an animal.
Basically.
But
Yeah.
in car form. I've said before that during the What Would Walt Have Done era, the two types of movies that Walt loved that they just kept cranking out were dumb as rocks, slapstick comedies, and movies with cute animals in them. And if you could get a slapstick comedy with a cute animal in it, all the better.
Ta-da.
Hence, Gus.
Okay.
Plus, this is kind of like a subtle throwback to Mr. Ed, maybe.
Sorta, I guess. Instead of a talking horse, it's a field goal kicking mule. Sure,
Yeah.
why not?
He wasn't too hot to trot, but he could kick a field goal.
But instead of putting peanut butter in his mouth, they had to put it on his foot.
Right. And we gotta talk about the sportscasters. Jeez.
I loved them so very much.
I intermittently loved them. They had, I thought, a solid comedy premise that they kind of squandered by not committing to it as much as they should have.
They committed to it at the very end of the movie.
Kind of, but they could have gone further with it, I think.
Yeah.
The two main sportscasters are played by Johnny Unitas, playing himself, mind you, who was actually a former football player and current sportscaster at the time. And then you got Bob Crane, fucking Hogan himself.
Oh my God.
From Hogan's Heroes, playing this parody of sportscasters who won't let the other guy get a word in edgewise.
Sitting right here beside me, I'll have my old buddy Johnny Unitas. He'll be carrying the ball right along with me. Right, John? Right. But don't you worry, fans. The old pepper pot will be right here to fall on any fumbles.
He just keeps talking to himself and doesn't let Johnny Unitas say a goddamn thing. Now, if they had committed to that would have been fucking hilarious, but they don't quite commit to it because every so often Johnny Unitas does say something. I would have loved it if it had escalated to the point where Johnny Unitas was just fucking bludgeoning Bob Crane to death. Mystery solved, motherfucker. Now we know who bludgeoned Bob Crane to death. He was bludgeoned to death in real life. That's
Jesus.
Oh, this actually was Bob Crane's last movie.
Yeah, it was.
This was actually 2 or 3 different people's last movie.
Oh, really?
So if you
who else can count this as their last movie?
Who else kicked the bucket with Gus?
Who else hired Gus to kick the bucket for him?
Thank you.
Gary Grimes, who played Andy. This was his last movie
Oh, really?
as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
How soon after this did he die?
It doesn't say that he died. It just says that he
decided to quit the business?
As far as I can tell, let me double check. Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay, so he just quit the business. Good for him. I probably would too if I started this piece of shit.
Yeah, he was a 20-year-old who was just like, I'm done.
So what you're saying is there's still time.
There is. He's still alive. He's 68.
So we can't definitively say this is his last movie.
Yeah.
Did you notice that he couldn't quite decide what his accent was?
Nobody could.
He couldn't decide what his accent was, nor could his hair decide if it wanted to be super curly or not.
He was a Yugoslavian named Andy. They didn't know what to do with him in the movie either.
Well, just based on his hair alone, I was getting such "We Have Will Ferrell at Home" vibes from him.
It's semi-pro.
It almost feels like under slightly different circumstances, this could have been reworked into a Will Ferrell sports comedy. Maybe Will Ferrell as the mule. I don't know. No, John C. Reilly would have played the mule.
You go.
There you go.
I mean, he did do kicking and screaming.
Don Knotts, I gotta say, was kind of wasted in this movie.
Oh, he was so wasted.
Not a good use of your Don Knotts. He played the coach, and they barely give him any shenanigans. All he basically does is try to make inspirational speeches to the team.
What makes Don Knotts so effective at comedy is that he has eyes like a beetle.
Right.
Like they're just big and they take up half his face, and he's great at reacting to anything, and they gave him next to nothing to react to.
Next to nothing.
Now, see, they did hire Penn and Teller go to prison to do all the
Conway is
slapstick.
basically Teller.
Oh my God. Tom Bosley and Tim Conway. They are given a ton of shit to do, especially in the last half. And I mentioned what an amazing get Ad Asner was for Disney at the time. Tom Bosley might have been an even better one because Happy Days was the biggest show on TV at the time.
Andy and Gus come out to do just the halftime show, and Andy gets nervous because there's so many people, so he gets a pep talk from Gus.
Or a pep nudging. The mule just fucking says, "Get the fuck out there, you chicken
any idea
shit."
how much they're paying me for this? I'm not letting you, Andy, ruin my life.
Yeah, like you said, at first, Ed Asner just wants to bring the mule onto the field as a halftime stunt.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a mule that can kick field goals. But then he's desperate for a kicker. And then we have the most amazing fucking scene in this movie. My jaw was on the goddamn floor and it tunneled to the center of the earth, that digging jaw of mine.
That's what we call it, Tony's old digging jaw.
Tony's old digging jaw.
Some say it's halfway to China by now.
I once saw him dig a hole through Disneyland using nothing but his molars.
Them canines are more impressive than Air Bud.
They use the fucking Air Bud logic.
Yep.
20 years before Air Bud.
Air Bud used Gus's logic.
Yes! Air Bud stole it from Gus. Everyone thinks of, ain't no rule says a dog can't play basketball. That whole fucking nonsense. They think of it as an Air Bud thing. No, it's a Gus thing. This was 20 years earlier. I feel like I can see through time.
Gus kicked so Air Bud could shoot.
Ed Asner has this wild idea to bring Gus on the field as their official kicker. They have to consult the NFL rule books. Now, it's far more verbose the way they say it in this movie.
According to the official rules of the National Football League, Rule 5, Section 1, the game is to be played by 2 teams of 11 players each. The rule book does not define the word player. Therefore, a player could be a man, a woman, or anyone a team chooses to represent them on the field. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the mule Gus will be allowed to play.
It does not define what a player is. Fucking how? What do you mean it doesn't define what a player is?
It's a much more long-winded, roundabout way of saying the Air Bud logic, but it's the fucking Air Bud logic. I feel like I've discovered an ancient civilization that predates the Mesopotamians or some shit.
I mean, if this movie were to be made nowadays, which no, that's exactly what Walt wouldn't have wanted. You would think the logic would be like, oh, the Detroit Tigers actually hire a tiger and put him in a jersey.
Oh, that's perfectly safe.
Exactly. Put him out on the field and he mauls the rest of the team.
Exactly.
And so they just win by default.
Well, that's Angels of the Outfield logic, where the magic thing that helps the team has to be named after the team.
But just imagine the Detroit Tigers.
And the thing is, refs can't stop the tiger either because the tiger just eats the ref.
And
no,
then the
Tiger
Bears?
sees ref in stripes and goes, brother. My other favorite thing when they say any man, woman, or animal.
Yeah, that's foreshadowing, because later on, a woman ends up on the field.
A woman.
But has to disguise herself.
It's just such a wordier version of, there's no definition of a player. There's something very punchy about, there ain't no rule says a dog can't play basketball.
That is memeable. This is not.
Oh, yeah.
That's why people remember it as an Air Bud thing and not a Gus thing. That and just millennial nostalgia.
I also wonder if it just has to do with the sheer volume of Air Bud movies that exist.
Right,
Because
right.
there are like 3 Air Buds and then 500 Air Buddies.
There's a grand total of 14 movies, if you
One
count
of
all the
which
Air Buddies.
Tom Bosley is in.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, and one of which Don Knotts is in.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the same one.
Sure, I could do this. I've seen it before.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the Air Buddies movie that Don Knotts was in was his last role in anything.
Holy shit.
So all sorts of last roles we're talking about today.
Oh my God.
Jeepers.
It all goes back to Gus.
And there's exactly one Gus movie. They did not make a fucking sequel to this.
All roads lead to Gus.
Well, yeah.
I'm
They
making a
nailed
new
it
Gus
the first
movie.
time, obviously.
Exactly. So anyway, because they have the fucking mule on their team, they actually start winning some games. And Ed Asner gets so cocky, he makes this bet with, I think, another team owner he knows.
I believe he's a financier. Like, he's the
Yeah.
money.
He's a rich white guy.
He's a rich white guy named Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a white guy named Charlie. I'm not rich.
Yeah, well,
You're rich
it's a
in
stereotype,
spirit,
I
bud.
guess.
Thank you. You sound like my therapist now.
Is your therapist in the room with us?
No.
No.
I mean, I can call him over Zoom.
Is the
but
mule your therapist, Charlie?
No, I don't count this as therapy.
That close-up shot of Gus the mule isn't real. It can't hurt you. So the bet Ed Asner makes with this guy is if the team manages to win the Super Bowl, Ed Asner gets to keep the team, and if not, this other guy gets the team. So that's what the movie is staked on. Does Ed Asner keep the team? Why should we give a shit? Why is it imperative that Ed Asner keep the team?
Is it a money thing?
It's not explicitly stated that Ed Asner is in debt or something and that he needs to still own the team in order to survive financially. That's not stated at any point. Does he just still want to keep the team?
Oh, I can tell you exactly why, because it's the entire crux of this movie, because there's no contract that Charlie signs against Ed Asner.
Right.
This is just a bet between dudes.
Exactly.
This whole movie's plot is linchpinned on male pride.
But the team sucked under Ed Asner. Wouldn't it benefit from having a new owner to maybe get some new players in there?
Well,
Yes.
he did point out that there were a couple of players worth keeping
Okay.
in the mixed-in credit sequence.
So? That doesn't come back
No,
later at
exactly.
all.
One player does not a whole team make good, except
Apparently
when you
it
have
does.
a mule.
Apparently one mule player
Yeah.
can win 10 football games. No other team in the NFL can figure out how to overcome one really good kicker.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck do you... Just don't let them kick. Just keep scoring touchdowns. Take the ball from them. What do you mean they scored 14 field goals? How did they do 14 turnovers? I know nothing about sports, and I know that's fucking impossible. That'd be hard for a good team to do, let alone this team whose only good player is livestock.
He's doing all the heavy lifting. He is a beast of burden.
This movie has a very similar non-existent structure to a lot of what Would Walt Have Done era movies, where scenes just sort of start and end randomly and haphazardly, and there's very little build to most of these scenes, so a lot of them just kind of stop abruptly on what's, I guess, supposed to be the punchline, but it's very rarely funny enough that you know it's supposed to be the punchline, so then it just cuts or dissolves to the next scene so abruptly that it disorients you. Oh, I guess that collection of shots in the same location is done now.
There's one in particular when Charlie first comes back with that mule was a cheap trick.
You'll never get away with it, Hank.
You would like to make a little bet on that too, would you, Charlie?
That never, ever comes up. It really seemed like they were about to do like a double or nothing situation. It doesn't go anywhere. It just fades out.
I think this movie takes the theater idiom of start in the middle of the action a little too literally.
Yeah. Now, the bright spot of this era of Disney movies is that you do get lines of dialogue like Ed Asner telling the other rich guy, "You shoved an impossible bet up my armpit and I stuck you with a mule." You know that was a studio mandated rewrite. Originally, it wasn't his armpit.
Another A word.
The one G-rated way you could say that.
The two rich white guys that are fighting was giving me big high school girl energy. Just so absolutely petty.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's rich people for you. Rich people are just high school girls with more money.
Haven't you seen Elon Musk's burn book? Mark Zuckerberg is a fugly bitch. Do not trust him.
Speaking of petty, should we talk about the fucking jealous boyfriend?
Oh my God,
You mean the 40-year-old man with the other team players? Yeah, we should talk about him.
Yeah, that fucking mustache guy. I think he was Dick Butkus, I want to say.
Probably.
And he was...
I mean, he certainly looks like a Dick Butkus.
Yeah.
He sure does. He's one of the players on the team. He's dating Ed Asner's secretary, and she gets really interested in Andy and this mule to the point where she effectively cheats on him without even formally breaking up with him.
In fairness, he does ask at the beginning, are we dating or not? His exact phrase is very 70s. Are we going or not?
Are we going together or not?
Well, it's only for a week or so. Mr. Cooper's orders.
It's never made clear if they actually are dating or if they got a couple dates in and called it off. That's what it seemed like what happened.
But this fucking jealous meathead boyfriend finds out that she and Andy have gone to a drive-in movie together. So he finds a car that he thinks is theirs. I guess it looks like their car or something. And fucking tears off the roof. And Richard Kiel pops up. Fucking Jaws from the Bond movies. And the guy in Happy Gilmore.
And you can count on me waiting for you in the parking lot.
Credited simply as Tall Man.
Yep. Tall Man. By the way, it's the 70s. Of course, there had to be something in here that didn't age well at all. At one point, the jealous boyfriend calls Andy a Yugoslavian M-word, which is now considered a slur for little people.
Which is also really funny, knowing later he meets a guy who's like 10 feet tall.
Right.
Yeah, you're one to talk. You got scared by a dude in a fucking VW bug.
He expands out of a VW bug like an inflatable figure.
Turns out Herbie is fully loaded of pain.
At one point, Don Knotts is giving a speech to the team.
This is a 40-man team, and I want a 40-man effort.
And then it cuts to the mule. So 40 men and a mule. That wording doesn't remind anyone of anything.
100 yards and a mule.
Half that team is black, and some of them were like, this is not the reparations I was promised.
One of them says, so this is mine now, right?
Jeez.
Every time there's players on the field, they are so obviously green screened in front of the cheering crowd because I guess they couldn't get the crowd to stay put long enough to get the shots they needed.
If I had to guess, if I had one audience come in, they filmed it at multiple angles. Okay, now we pay these extras for one day of shooting.
Right,
Instead of having to constantly pay them.
And if AI had existed back then, they could have just reused those extras in every movie and only pay them once.
They used Don Knotts forever at some point, so they probably only paid him once.
They have a bunch of big wide shots of the crowd over which the characters are green screened, but then they got a few tighter shots of the crowd, and in one tighter shot of the crowd, I swear to fucking God, Rob Schneider's character from The Waterboy.
Oh my God.
He was dressed exactly like him. You just wanted him to shout, "You can do it, Gus!
Kick his fucking head off!"
One of you's found Waldo, too.
Yep, Waldo was in the crowd.
Some dude in a horizontally red and white striped shirt.
Canonically Waldo in any context.
Only if he has the beanie and glasses.
The top of his head was chopped off, so We may never know.
It was Gus's fault.
Yeah, Gus kicked his head off.
That horse fucker.
Whoa.
Well, no, the donkey fucked the horse, and that's how you got the mule.
I think mules might be sterile, so that might not be an anything fucker.
Do we want to talk about the semi-homoerotic moments in this movie? There's a scene where Andy gets knocked out or he's delirious or something, and he confuses Ed Asner for his father and kisses him on the cheek. And then, like, one scene later, there's the shower scene where huge fucking missed opportunity. They didn't pan over to the mule in the showers with them.
Oh,
right.
my God.
Come on.
Oh, God,
It was
wait.
right there.
They probably thought of it, but the mule was too scared.
Yeah, the animal wrangler said there is no safe way to do that.
Unless they used the fake mule that they had on set when they were carrying him on his shoulders.
That could have worked.
Even just that fake head they use later in the movie.
Oh my God, that obvious fake mule head they used to distract the security guards. Yeah, I found this in my bed this morning. I shouldn't have pissed off the Corleones. But the other thing about the shower scene, that was not a set. That was clearly filmed in an actual shower facility because the audio was echoey.
Oh, yeah.
The audio was recorded in this heavily tiled room. I don't know why they didn't just ADR the audio. They've done ADR in these kinds of movies before.
They did ADR several times in the movie, where especially like in the scene where they're in LAX.
Yeah.
You can really tell it's been ADR'd
They
there.
ADR'd in the very beginning of the movie with the father.
Yeah. Maybe they couldn't get their microphones into LAX. By the way, I love that tunnel under LAX where they have that multicolored tile mosaic on the wall. I love that hasn't changed in 45 years.
No, but they actually did ADR later in the shower scene. The investor and Dick Van Patten are in those sweat machines.
Right, those old-timey personal saunas.
Their mouth movements do not match what they're saying.
You know, we talked about this on the Devil and Max Devlin episode. Disney was using decades out of date equipment for these movies.
Yes.
They were still using the same equipment they had used back in the fucking 40s just because they were so goddamn cheap. So for ADR, you just had to get what you got. And you mentioned Dick Van Patten's in this movie. Kind of a waste of Dick Van Patten, I thought.
Absolutely.
He's barely in this. The few scenes he does have, he's just kind of sniveling up to the boss. Hell, he was better used in Treasure of Matacumbe, and he's only in that for one scene.
And if you pick out the baby card, if your eye is faster than my hand, you're going to take all my money.
How about that fucking scene where the newscaster basically treats Gus like Jesus? Like he's this American hero who has brought the country together, the symbol of inspiration in these times of war and bigotry and hatred. By the way, this was 1976. What war? Vietnam was over by then.
They're establishing Gus Day.
Right.
Every year from now on, this day shall be known as Gus Day.
Every Sunday is Gus Day, not just that one day.
They're renaming Sunday to Gus Day. Fuck you, Christians.
This coming Gus Day, Gus Day, Gus Day.
Unfortunately, Gus Day was later ruined when it became 9/11.
That happened on a Tuesday, though.
Time difference. It was Sunday then.
Well,
yeah.
Gus was one of the hijackers. He was promised 72 mayors in the afterlife.
We've already
A second mule has kicked the football.
Well, they tried that.
We've already established Gus can get onto planes, so there's a non-zero chance.
Wait, hang on. We've now just realized this should have been the plot for Gus 2, is there's another mule that kicks field goals. Or the donkey that can do touchdowns.
Sure, yes.
Gus fully
before
loaded.
long, equine animals of all sorts have taken over the sport.
Yeah, by the time it gets to like its 14th Air Buddies movie, it's just two full teams of horses and the novelties. They found a human that can play football.
And then there's the movie that's a metaphor for civil rights where a camel gets on the team. They're like, a camel?
The 12th Gus movie really jumped the shark when the horse team and the mule team play football in space. And Dick Butkus is still really mad that he's not the first football player on the moon.
This is a weird donkey show.
So the best characters in this movie, aside from the mule, of course, are Tim Conway and Tom Bosley as these two ex-cons who are going through all these fucking Hanna-Barbera shenanigans to try to kidnap the mule, and everything goes wrong. That was the best stuff in the movie. It's just watching these two bungling idiots try to deal with this fucking mule.
Getting this mule drunk.
They get the mule drunk.
They warned of tobacco depictions. They said nothing about alcohol. I want my money back.
Drink up, Gus. Today's your day.
Because the mule is so drunk, The mule fucking destroys the Gus Day display. It's the most diet fucking low-rent version of the scene in Dumbo where Dumbo ruins the big top.
Yeah.
And it's just so sad to watch.
I hadn't even thought about that Dumbo reference. That took it from what would Walt have done to what did Walt already do.
Exactly. And also on Gus Day, all the sportscasters are wearing these stupid hats with fake mule ears.
Fuck the Oswald ears, fuck Mickey ears. I want Gus ears.
There's certainly plenty lying around, probably.
Honestly, if I do an Etsy search right now.
They probably just had one pair made and they green screened everybody wearing the same. Oh, and then Gus picks up the mayor of the town, and I was sure that was going to lead to a mayor pun.
Yeah.
Wasted opportunity movie. Oh, and then Gus sits on the ball and ruins the game and
pops it.
And has this look on his face like, I did it.
Is this how you play football? Papa, are you proud of me now? I can play better than my older brother who can kick a soccer ball across a field.
Another line of dialogue I want to highlight. The other rich guy is talking to Ed Asner while Ed Asner is shaving, and he's saying, you gotta dump the mule. He got drunk. He destroyed everything. You can't trust a dumb animal. And Asner just says,
there's an old Yugoslavian expression. Never switch mules in the middle of a shave.
I kind of love that, and I don't know why I love that.
But they switched mules in the middle of a game.
That's another fucking shenanigan that Bosley and Conway try to pull. Sounds like a law firm, doesn't it? Bosley and Conway. Where they try to switch Gus with another mule by painting the white stripe on Gus's nose onto the other mule.
Mules don't look like mules on film. You got to use cows.
Exactly. By the way, the first time we see the law offices of Bosley and Conway, appropriately enough, they're getting released from prison.
I've got a great idea of what we're going to do to this mule, and it dissolves to the correctional facility. You're going to send him to prison? We will frame him for murder.
Ain't no rule says you can't put a mule in prison.
We got to talk about the scene where I couldn't even tell what was happening at first. Maybe because I was looking at my notes or something, but I couldn't tell at first that there's a scene where the mule kicks the mustached guy over the goalpost.
The ball is turning into a fat, bald guy. And it's no good. And you know what we say every time something strange happens? It's good that Bart did that.
He's upset that the girl is falling for Andy, and so he's going to go tackle Andy. And then he yells, oish, which tells the donkey to kick.
Yeah,
and the donkey missed the ball and instead kicked the man. Kicked the wrong ball, if you will.
But the setup to that is filmed and edited so incompetently. And then when you see the dummy guy fly over the uprights, it doesn't even look like a guy. It looks like just an amorphous mound of white stuffing.
You know that it is something that the donkey has kicked because it makes the same slide whistle sound.
Right, exactly.
There was two things that was missing. I don't even know if it needed both of these or if it just needed one of them. When the kick happens, you either need to see hoof hit man,
right,
which probably would have required them to have either actually have that mule able to kick on command, which who's to say it can or can't. Then it would need a fake guy to hit, or you would need some sort of fake hoof to then hit into the actual guy.
Already did, though. In the hands-in scene, you see a hoof come in.
Or, and I think this probably would have been just fine, if you had just gotten a second of that dude's face reacting to being kicked in the stomach.
Right.
Just a brrr, like his eyes try to pop out of the skull.
Maybe use wires to show him flying over the thing, but they couldn't afford wires. What am I talking about? I mean, it's not like this was the studio that made Mary Poppins or anything! So anyway, let's talk about that hospital scene, shall we? So Tom Bosley calls up Andy, and I should look up to see if Tom Bosley was Jewish or not, because if not, that accent was not okay.
I'm Dr. Ernest Goldman. See, it was a two-car collision. What a mess. But you're not to worry.
Hello, I'm Dr. McJew. Looking it up here, Bosley was Jewish.
Oh, okay.
He was accentuating.
And he's basically telling him, your girlfriend, she got in a car accident. She needs a blood transfusion. And he gives the directions to get to the hospital.
You take the Santa Ana Freeway to the Orange Grove off-ramp, turn left to Beach Boulevard about 4 miles, then take a right.
That's basically how you get to Knott's Berry Farm.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Was Disney trying to throw shade at their competition?
Or the directions could have been accurate.
Are there any hospitals near Knott's Berry Farm that you know of?
Not that I'm aware.
So
there's a near abandoned mall, but that's about it.
They're trying to detain Andy, I think, because they know that the mule won't kick without him.
There are a lot of shenanigans that either lead to incapacitating Andy, incapacitating Gus, or separating one from the other.
Right. And Tom Bosley is disguised as a doctor, which I'm pretty sure is a felony.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they lock up Andy in this room and say, hey, don't let him out of this room and don't let anyone in. If anyone tries to come in, just tell him there's a crazy person in there.
There's a demented peacock?
Because he calls it dementia pecoxis.
Wrong streaming service.
And he mentions the field goal kicking mule, and Tim Conway says,
Sure, you can be anybody you want here. Man of War, Rin Tin Tin. How about Dumbo the Flying Elephant?
bitch, take Dumbo's name out of your fucking mouth.
There's now been 2 different Dumbo references in this movie. Do you think the makers just really liked Dumbo?
I've said this before, but it's Disney saying, we've made good movies too. Honest, we have.
Herbie wasn't a fluke.
Andy is hiding in a room. Tom Bosley comes in, tries to turn on the light, but instead turns on the x-ray screen.
Right. There's that weird skeleton animation.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing was done by the animation department.
Oh, absolutely.
They pulled one of their animators aside. Hey, stop working on Rescuers for a minute. Just do this stupid skeleton thing.
And Don Bluth's like, hey, I need him.
Yeah, that was one of the straws that eventually broke the mule's back for Don Bluth. Fuck it, I'm leaving in 3 years.
They're fighting for a minute, and the cat gets in on it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. There's a cat randomly wandering around the hospital.
What a great bit. This cat has cancer now.
He didn't turn the thingy off as he was leaving the room. So everybody in that hospital has cancer now.
It was an impressively animated sequence.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll give this movie this much. If you've ever wanted to see Tom Bosley fall into a laundry chute, look no further. This movie contains a scene where Tom Bosley falls into a laundry chute.
Finally!
There's a lot of Tom Bosley has things happen to him in this movie.
And it's a good thing they lured Andy to the hospital instead of Gus, because if it had been Gus, there would be a mule loose in the hospital.
No, but there was a mule loose in a hotel.
Yeah, let's just skip to that. So they try to switch mules on him and sneak Gus into a fucking hotel. They get him into the elevator, but then they're joined by a woman who looks like Al Franken in drag and a guy who looks like Hayao Miyazaki.
Yep.
And he's not even Japanese. He just has Miyazaki's glasses and hair and facial hair, and they're trying to hide the mule, but the mule starts eating fruit from the lady's hat.
Which we can visibly see is not real fruit. It's just yarn.
And pulls the lady's hat off, and she's bald. It's wacky. That's what this movie is. So while Andy's fucking around at the hospital, gasp, a woman's on the field, even though they don't make a big deal out of it. Debbie, the token girl in this, takes Andy's place. And then Debbie fucking chases Andy to the airport. She fucking Love Actuallys him.
Yeah, another scene ruined by 9/11.
And just 2 minutes after we saw Tom fucking Bosley fall into a laundry chute, this movie decides it wants to be a melodrama all of a sudden. Oh, my father was right. I'm worthless. It's the mule that's the hero. All I do is set the mule up, and my brother's a big soccer player. And she's like, you've got to believe in yourself. Who cares what your parents say? We just saw Tom Bosley fall in a laundry chute. Quit pretending anything means anything.
The father is disappointed in Andy.
Right.
He's not the hero. His finger is.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
finger's the hero.
Yeah, they talk way too much about fingers in this movie.
And mules.
And it is kind of funny that Ed Asner takes way too long to notice Andy is behind him, even after he says, hey, quiet kid, I'm on the phone. But it should have gone on longer. The longer it had gone on, the funnier it would have been.
Then it would have mirrored the opening credits.
And in the scene where Bosley and Conway switch the mules on him, Tom Bosley steps out of a school bus that's blocking the road, and he's wearing a big mustache, and I was thinking, oh God, please don't do a bad Mexican accent. Please don't do a bad Mexican accent. Or it could have been Italian, yeah. And he didn't, fortunately, but I'm honestly surprised he didn't, because this movie's done everything else for a cheap laugh.
Hey, bada bing, bada bus.
My bus, it got us stuck in the dirt.
My name is
Mamma
a bus
mia.
driver, a Boyardee. Please come and help me move my bus.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Bosley Super Show.
And remember, if you do drugs, you go to hell before you die.
So anyway, they get the mule in the hotel room, and Conway says,
We shouldn't have brought, you know who here. We should have gone right to Mexico.
no, the mule smuggled drugs from Mexico.
It's the donkeys that stay in Mexico.
They gotta smuggle the mule
Speaking of
into
Mexican
Mexico.
stereotypes.
Not for that reason. Damn it.
We like to call it interspecies erotica.
Intriguing.
I know I already made a fucking Godfather reference, but there's a scene where the whole mule is lying on the bed, and I was just thinking, wow, the Corleones have really gone overboard.
Yeah, I didn't know mules operated with cat logic of, this is mine now. I take up the whole bed.
Just wait, the mule's going to wake up with Tim Conway's head in the bed.
Just braying.
This is a sign from the Mr. Ed family.
So they're watching the game on live TV, and there's a different mule on the field. And when Andy says oich, which is the signal to kick the ball.
Apologies for any mule owners out there.
Yeah, the mule kicks the TV and destroys it. That was a pretty impressive destroying the TV shot. I kind of wonder how many TVs they went through.
I would like to know how they got the mic that close to Andy for the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
I've never once in my life heard anything a football player says unless they're coming up to them. What are you going to do next?
And the mule runs out of the hotel, and we get the sequence, not just a scene. This is a whole fucking 10, 20-minute sequence.
A noticeably long part of
It
the
is
movie.
a short film unto itself where the stupidity of this film actually reaches a sort of blissful nirvana.
Yeah.
And you're just grooving to it. The mule wanders into a Ralph's, which, for those who don't live in Southern California, for some reason, we've decided to name our biggest grocery store chain Ralph's. I don't know why.
Ralph's is Kroger. So for everybody back east and in the south, it's Kroger.
Kroger owns Ralph's.
When I think about buying food, I want to shop at the place named after vomiting. Anyway,
we have to. They give us gas points.
Welcome to Barf Supermarket. I got all the finest things that definitely won't make you barf.
Clean up on aisle, all of them.
What I kind of love about the supermarket sequence is that it does go on so fucking long to the point where it actually becomes hilarious.
It exhausts every conceivable slapstick idea that can take place in a supermarket.
You could make a bingo card of all of these slapstick moments in the Ralph's alone.
My favorite detail about it is over it, you're hearing effectively the Yugoslavian version of Yakety Sax.
Yes, exactly. The mule runs into the big canned peaches display.
Before that, you got the guy like admiring his work with the peach cans, having just finished dusting them. Looks back and goes, and then walks away.
Yep.
And then the mule comes in.
Of course. And then you got throwing Tim Conway into the tomatoes, so his clothes are all messy for the rest of the scene. And then Gus shakes the shelf, and the flour comes down on Tom Bosley's head.
Yep.
It just looked like, oh, that's the amount of cocaine they snorted this movie.
Basically.
The flour that the donkey knocks onto Tim Conway is in the Pampers aisle.
Right.
Not baby powder, the logical thing. Bread flour, and they make it a point by showcasing the Ralph's brand and the gold medal brand, so for sure it's flour.
There was a ton of product placement in this scene.
That scene is where they got all their product placement out. At least I hope it was product placement. I hope they were smart enough to actually make some money off that scene and not just throw random products in there.
Literally two shots strung together have Coke in the background, and then Pepsi in the background.
And Disneyland. There's an ad for Disneyland on the wall of the supermarket.
Come relive the magic.
And there's one shot I got to talk about, because there's a scene where Tim Conway reaches under a shelf and grabs a woman's high-heeled shoe, thinking that it's one of the mule's hooves. The woman's big, muscular boyfriend grabs Tim Conway by the shirt, lifts him up off the ground. Tim Conway says, "Am I in your way?" And then he throws Tim Conway into a shopping cart and pushes the cart into a big display of bouncy balls. Now, I recognized that shot because I'm not using this theme music for What Would Walt Have Done month, but my normal theme music is the song Walt Disney and You.
Come where your family is waiting for Walt Disney and You.
Which, for those who don't know, comes from a promo that they used to slap onto the end of every Disney VHS tape in the early 80s to advertise all the Disney VHS tapes available at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the clips they use in that promo is, "Am I in your way? Smash the shopping cart into the display of balls." That sounds so wrong. So I recognize that clip from that promo, but here's the thing. They specifically use it in a montage devoted to Disney villains.
But there's no escaping the Disney villains.
You call that murder?
Lean on them.
Am I in your way?
And there's clips of the Headless Horseman and Long John Silver and Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues, and of course, the random big muscly guy who pushed Tim Conway into the balls. Just as iconic a Disney villain as Captain fucking Nemo.
Can we also talk about what a missed opportunity it is that they just had this guy run into a column of balls.
Yep.
Balls spill out across the supermarket in a movie that features a mule that kicks balls.
Yeah! Why not have him kick all the balls? And by the way, all the other shoppers so nonplussed by all of this.
It's California.
They're just continuing shopping, seemingly not noticing there's a fucking mule in the supermarket.
It's Southern California in 1976. They've seen this already.
They're all high.
The mule walks into the butcher back room, and the butcher's telling a woman,
That was a good gag.
oh, we've got the freshest meat in town, and the fucking mule comes out.
Freshest meat.
I could be wrong about this, but I think I read somewhere that mule meat is actually much healthier than beef.
Probably, yeah.
One of my favorite little bits is similar to the peach cans where the guys dusting it instead of go up all nice. They do another one later where they have like
fine china.
You know, that classic mule in a china shop situation.
Right, exactly.
But it's not the mule that runs into the china.
Nope.
It's the mule kicking the guys into the china.
Exactly. And then the little kid says, hey, Mom, look at that. At Tim Conway with a bunch of trash cans on his ass when there's an actual ass running through the store. I'm just saying, priorities, kid.
There was one bit that genuinely got a really good laugh out of me where right after he had got the buckets off his ass, he hands him the rope they're trying to use to catch Gus, but he's still stuck in the my butt's in the trash cans pose. So as he's following him with the rope, it just looks like a man and his monkey.
They even play little organ music, too.
And then you got Tom Bosley falling into the lobster tank.
Yeah, where, of course, Tom Hardy got the idea for Venom.
Yeah, great Toms think alike, I guess. And I was thinking by the end of it, the only way they can possibly top all of this is if the Bluesmobile suddenly crashed through the wall. That's the only way.
This place has got everything.
So they find Gus in the parking lot of this Ralph's via helicopter because, of course, they're going crazy looking for Gus because the Super Bowl's going on conveniently in Southern California. Sure, why not?
I looked up the 1976 football season just out of curiosity. Coincidentally, that year it took place in Pasadena.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, this was in 1977, but it was in January. It's at the end of that season.
Right.
January 9th, 1977. It was at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Holy shit.
Fair enough.
In this movie, it is between, what was it, the California
Adams.
California Adams against the Minnesota Mammoths, I think is what they said.
Yeah,
And the actual Super Bowl was between the Oakland Raiders and the Minnesota Vikings.
No shit.
Wow.
Gus predicted
Super Bowl. And also, that season was the first season a team went 0-14. They lost every game. This movie predicted everything about
Wow.
the football season.
That's like when Parks and Rec predicted the Cubs would win the World Series.
Oh my God.
But here's the thing. Oakland's not Southern California, so I gotta dock you points, Zach. Sorry.
We don't know where the California Adams are. They're just in California.
No, there's a bunch of Southern California signifiers. They don't have Ralphs in Northern California. Although, didn't the Oakland Raiders move to L.A. at some point? Or
They did.
move back to Oakland?
From Oakland to LA, back to Oakland, and now to Vegas.
So, okay, that's good enough for me. That is a crazy coincidence.
I didn't know that they could play Super Bowls at the Rose Bowl. I thought it was just the Coliseum.
I guess they could then.
Look, they can do NASCAR races at the Coliseum, which Haley calls the parade, because how the hell are you going to get enough speed around that thing?
So they helicopter Gus into the game, and of course he immediately scores 5 field goals, which prompts the Bob Crane sportscaster to exclaim,
Unbelievable! Inconceivable!
grammar like a hammer, information receivable? Run DMC, never mind. So then, with 3 seconds on the clock,
3 football seconds.
3 football seconds, they're able to pull off a maneuver that should have taken at least 30.
30 seconds for a professional football player.
Yeah.
This was just Andy, who is a farmer from Yugoslavia, whose whole
Right.
trait is that he knows how to command the mule.
And they only get the chance because the other team happens to fumble. How inspirational. But Andy does pull it off. He gets to be a sports hero in his own right rather than just Gus's accessory. Fine. Happy ending.
His father's so proud of him. They flew the parents in from Yugoslavia. They're in the booth.
But before he scores that miraculous touchdown, they zoom into this super creepy close-up of Gus's face.
On green screen, too!
The green screen makes it look even creepier.
I'm
It
going to
is-
murder you, Andy.
That thing's going to be in my nightmares. And the film ends the only way it possibly can.
With Don Knotts dead.
With Don Knotts dead, because he's fainted, I guess. And, of course, with a freeze frame of the mule winking. The end, a Walt Disney production.
And it really missed the opportunity to have the closing credits also do with the opening credits.
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Because there's comedy and repetition.
Even before the ending of the movie, when Debbie goes up to the mule and says,
Slip, Gus? Come on.
Have they been talking to the mule like these people the whole time?
Debbie and Gus have their own separate relationship going on.
Can we also talk about what they're...
Debbie's been fucking Gus. That's what I'm trying to...
No, that's my headcanon.
If what they're implying is that Gus...
in Mexico
planned for that exact cosmic situation of him missing the football so that it could fumble and they could catch it, but not catch it. It would slip through the mud and pop out like a biscuit out of a biscuit can, fly through the air. Andy would then catch it, run to one field goal, get scared of the big man, and run all the way to the other field goal. The level of Rube Goldberg knowledge that mule would have to have. Why is there no sequel to this where we need to understand whatever flowers for Algernon feed they are giving that mule?
Flower that drops on Tom Bosley's head for Algernon. So yeah, Gus is just God. Both names start with a G and are 3 letters.
G. Us.
Yeah.
Jesus.
God is us. God is all of us. The mule is inside all of us sexually, right?
We
now.
worship all of Gus's achievements on Gus
What
Day.
I'm trying to say is that we're all fucking the mule.
No, that's my headcanon.
If you look at this diagram,
Gorgeous Gus and the sexy stud.
It's 3 forms: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Stallion of the Summer.
No, the Father, Son, and the Holy Gus. The Holy Gus was right there, Jack.
Holy Gus
Did
is
you
way
just
better.
call him Jack?
Fucking.
Can Gus come out to play?
Anyway, I can tell by the old clock on the wall that once again it's time for... What Hulu titles show up on Disney Plus when you search for this week's topic? If you're subscribed to Hulu as well as Disney Plus and you type Gus into the Disney Plus search bar, you will also find Gasoline Alley, a 2022 action thriller starring Bruce Willis, Devon Sawa, and Luke Wilson, Justified, the acclaimed Emmy-nominated neo-western starring Timothy Olyphant, which ran for 6 seasons on FX in the 2010s, and of course, Gut Job, a Canadian home renovation reality series from 2022 in which CFL safety Sebastian Clovis renovates houses. That's what Hulu titles show up on Disney Plus when you search for this week's topic. And now I do believe the time has come to answer that question that has baffled mankind and mulekind through the ages, namely, what's the attraction? I don't know of any official Gus representation that has ever been at the Disney parks. I think there was more Disney park representation in Gus than there was Gus representation at the parks.
Funny you mention that.
Oh, really?
I did research. Apparently, there are Gus mounts in Disney Infinity 2.0 and 3.0.
Really?
You can ride Gus, and he attacks by kicking a field goal.
Ride how? Exactly.
No, I mean, you ride him.
Ride
like
in what sense?
You ride him like you would a
You
horse.
fuck the mule,
Sure
Tony.
you do, Charlie. Sure you do.
You stick your Woody while it's buzzing inside
Which
the mule.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I have all 3 Disney Infinities, so I can
So
probably try that out.
Oh my god! But that's a video
video game
That's not-
representation. Disney
that's
Infinity
not the
is
parks.
dead.
But of course, now that field goal kicking mule movies are just going to be money in the bank because society is slipping into complete nonsense, Gus is going to be the most watched title on Disney Plus, and Disney is going to need to work it into the park somehow. How are they going to do that, Charlie?
Not only are they going to rename the Wide World of Sports complex into the Wide World of Gus, they are going to, in fact, have Gus Day parades where they liquor up a mule as much as they can and just ride him down Main Street and watch him cause all sorts of chaos. And then later he's going to cause chaos in the local grocery store.
Ride him down Main Street in what sense, Charlie? Okay, I'm done.
Damn it.
Cassie.
They're actually going to embrace more of the futuristic element. It's going to be a VR headset that you put on, and you experience what it's like to have your Yugoslavian father tell you how much better your brother is at soccer than you are.
Zach.
They're going to just hollow out several of the shops on Main Street and make it picture perfect 1970s Ralph's. And periodically throughout the day, 2 men and a mule are going to have a wild slapstick show throughout this fake Ralph's. And if you're careful and if you're quick, you can buy the plates before the mule smashes them.
Well, unfortunately, you're all wrong.
Good, I didn't want to be right.
What they are going to do is finally, after all these years, buy out Knott's Berry Farm, retitle it Don Knotts Berry Farm and have Don Knotts just barking orders at a football team all day, and that's all there is in the theme park. And then Disney tears it down and builds a hospital.
I'm so mad I didn't think of Don Knotts Berry Farm until you said it.
Well, clearly you didn't listen to the Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again episode, because I made the exact same pun.
Yeah, because there's comedy and repetition.
So, final verdict, folks, is Gus a Disney Plus or a Disney minus? Zach?
It wore me down. I'm going to give it a Disney Plus.
Oh, God.
I wouldn't watch this alone, but
Me
if
neither.
you do it like we did, where you watch with some friends, ready to have a stupid good time.
And you don't have one asshole in the room telling everyone, save it for the podcast. Save it for the podcast. If you're actually allowed to riff this movie to your heart's content.
It sort of meets you halfway. There are parts in it that are funny, but the parts that aren't funny are just dumb enough that you can make fun of them and get a joke out of it anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a good time. I'm giving it a Disney Plus.
Cassie?
I wanted to give it a Disney minus so bad, but I've learned from doing what Zach and I do. When I like something a lot, I don't take a lot of notes, and I only have less than half a page of notes. So I guess I really liked this movie, and I gotta give it a Disney Plus.
It's very mathematical, very scientific of you, Cassie. Charlie?
Well, between Zach getting worn down and giving it a plus, and Cassie just being so enamored with the mathematics of no notes equals good movie, I'm going to use the emotional angle. I kind of really liked this, so I'm giving it a Disney Plus, just because I felt that it was very charming and of that era. And yeah, they were trying to do what Walt would have done, but they kind of succeeded in other ways that weren't intentional.
You know, I'm a little bit torn on this one. This was fun to riff. I'll give it that much. But I've reviewed other movies that are fun to riff that I didn't give a Disney Plus to, so I can't let it slide on that alone. I can't quite give this a Disney Plus. I acknowledge that there were some scenes where this reached a certain level of blissful idiot nirvana towards the end, but up to that point, it didn't quite get there. Whereas, for example, The Cat from Outer Space, which I did give a Disney Plus to, that achieved a level of blissful idiot nirvana really early on and then maintained that level. I spent way too much of this movie thinking, wow, this is a complete piece of shit for me to justify giving it a Disney Plus. I gotta give it a Disney minus. And also, I wouldn't have felt right about giving this movie unanimous Disney Pluses. That just felt very, very wrong, considering how sloppily it was made.
75% feels right.
75% feels exactly right. Who's got stuff to plug?
Cassie and I do a podcast together. It's called Who Is My Doctor? We talk about Doctor Who, where I am your host, Zach, and I know a lot about Doctor Who.
And I'm also your host, Cassie, and I don't know a lot about Doctor Who.
Cassie, prior to us doing this, has never seen Doctor Who before, and so I go through showing her the new episodes of Doctor Who one by one, and we break each one down.
Zach says everything, and I chime in for comedy once in a while.
I make Cassie predict things that are going to happen in the episode, and oftentimes when she is wrong, she is very mad that she is wrong.
I have an army of people behind me that think that I'm right.
If that sounds like a good time for you, if you're into Doctor Who, if you're into Cassie being upset,
upset about tea, upset about time.
Check out Who Is My Doctor, available wherever you get your podcasts. Or on my YouTube channel.
And also our social medias for that. It's WIMD Pod, right?
Yeah, WIMD Pod. WIMD-POD.
I'm on a mental health hiatus from the channel, so I ain't making shit. But the channel is still up, so you can watch everything that I have posted over on YouTube at Theme Snark. And you can find me on all the socials, rebranded or otherwise, still at Theme Snark.
And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Tony Goldmark, and you can also follow this show on Twitter at EFVD Podcast. I've also got a Facebook fan group you can join called Some Jerk with a Fan Club, and I've got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tony Goldmark, where you can find all 3 seasons of my web series, Some Jerk with a Camera, along with a bunch of other videos about movies and theme parks, and even a few scant episodes of this very podcast. You can find every episode of this podcast at pipedreampodcast.com, as well as all the usual outlets like Audible, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. If you like what you've been hearing and you'd like to help us out, please subscribe, please leave a review, please give us 5 stars, please share with your friends and enemies. All that stuff helps us get discovered by the almighty algorithm. If you'd like to help us out even more, you can donate to my Patreon, patreon.com/Tony Goldmark, where if you pledge any amount, even the bare minimum of $1 a month, you get to hear new episodes of this podcast ad-free and 1 day early. Special thanks to all my patrons. You don't know how much it means to me. Once again, that's patreon.com/Tony Goldmark. And also, special thanks to friend of the show, Jacob Martin, for making the theme music for the Hulu segment. And that is it for What Would Walt Have Done, quote-unquote, month. I am exceedingly sorry that it took me so bloody long to edit these 5 episodes. Even for me, this took way too long. Hopefully, no future theme month will ever take me this long ever again. But regardless, it's been quite a thing to focus on such an oft-maligned era in Disney history for 5 episodes in a row. An era perhaps oft-maligned for a reason, as we've seen. I didn't give a Disney Plus to one goddamn thing in any of these 5 episodes, but I'm still very glad that this theme quote-unquote month finally happened after 3 years in a row of it coming in second place in the annual poll. I'll have a mini-sode for you later this week, and as for next week's episode, I now have a very important question for our very good friend, Miss Cassie Shima.
Yes?
Cassie, I don't know if you've been counting, but this episode we just recorded on Gus just so happened to be your 10th time as a guest on this very podcast.
Bye-bye.
And to commemorate this momentous milestone, it's time to give you the option of Guest's Choice.
Be our guest.
Choice.
Be our guest.
Choice.
Put our service to the test.
Choice. Now, for any listeners who don't know how Guest Choice works, Guest Choice basically works like a free sandwich punch card. Once you've been a guest on this podcast 10 times, you get one episode where we bypass the randomizer entirely and cover what you want us to cover. It can be anything you want as long as it's available on Disney Plus in the US, and it's never been covered on this show before. As you'll remember, Charlie here used his Guest Choice to make us watch Man of the House. And you were on the episode where Zach here used his Guest Choice to make us watch Luck of the Irish.
And you're quite welcome for it, too.
That was Scottish.
Now, you don't have to use this option right away. You can think about it and keep it in your back pocket if you like, for as long as you like. David Gansel has had his Guest Choice option burning a hole in his back pocket for almost 4 years now.
At this point, it's going to be the series finale.
As long as this podcast is still going, it'll never expire as long as you don't use it. But once you finally do use it, it's gone forever. You don't get another one after you've been on the podcast 20 times or 30 times or 100 times or 1,000,000 times. Everyone only gets one, and once it's gone, it's gone. Now, with all that in mind, Cassie, would you like to come back on next week's show to use your Guest Choice option or keep it in your back pocket?
I am going to follow in the footsteps of one Dave Gansel and save it.
She's gonna save it, folks. That means we are back to feeding the entire Disney Plus master list into the almighty randomizer to pick our next topic. Cassie, are you interested in reading off the randomizer's pick?
Boy, am I.
Okay, Smart House, initiate random shuffle mode, please.
Initiating random shuffle mode.
Make a selection.
And the winner is...
From 2022, Delicacy's Destiny.
Delicacy's Destiny. Let's check to see what that is.
Sounds like a food thing?
Okay, Delicacy's Destiny is a Chinese streaming series, and it's got 17 episodes. Cassie, I'm going to ask you this. Since this is a streaming series, and it looks like it might be really serialized, would you like to pick an episode at random, or do you want to just start from the pilot to make it slightly easier on us?
I don't know, because part of me likes the chaos of going right in the middle, but also I know that everybody in the next episode has some degree of ADHD and we won't know what the fuck is going on. So for ease, we should probably do number 1.
And the episodes don't even have titles. Each episode is just listed as episode numbers. So join us next time on Escape from Walt Disney when we will cover Delicacy's Destiny, episode 1.
You shoved an impossible bed up my armpit and I stuck you with a mule.